Never in my life would I ever have thought I'd hear the term promising horizontal caves. Again, that could be misconstrued as many things. Promising horizontal cave. Just gonna leave that one out there.
Veryovkina Cave. At 7,257 feet deep, Veryovkina Cave is the deepest cave on Earth.
Oh, okay, Veryovkina. Before I fucking watched the video, I fucking butchered that fucking name pronunciation. Holy shit.
The cave is so deep that it takes over 4 days and thousands of feet of rope to descend to its immense
4 days? It takes 4 fucking days to get to the bottom of this cave. What the fuck?
depth. And certainly, what would the deepest cave be without a couple of horrifying incidents? These are those stories.
No, this is gonna be bad. Oh god.
On the border of Russia and Georgia is a mountain range known as the Caucasus Mountains. This mountain range is notable for a few reasons. First, it's home to Europe's highest peak, Mount Elbrus, at 18,500 feet.
For a minute, I genuinely thought that was Mount Fuji. I was like, wait, why are we looking at Japan if we're in Russia? What was that? Imagine not seeing daylight for 8. Nah, fuck that. I mean, just think of a reverse mountain. That's actually a very good way of putting it, Agent. Yeah, it's a reverse mountain climb.
On the western side of the region of Abkhazia is a sub-range of the Caucasus Mountains known as the Gagra Range. There are some decent-sized mountains in this area as well. The highest among them is just over 11,000 feet. But this area...
I'm sorry, that was an intrusive thought that just like came that... My brain spoke, my mouth fucking spoke it before my brain caught up. I'm sorry, I'm fucking sorry.
...is notable for another reason. The Gagra Range is primarily a limestone mountain range carved out by rivers over its geological history. The prehistoric rivers created a bunch of deep canyons and the largest caves on Earth that are currently known. In fact, the Gagra Mountain...
My fuck. Chat, just look at this, look at... Why? What? I don't understand the appeal. I really do not understand the appeal of doing this. This looks horrifying. I'm not claustrophobic, but I think I'd develop it if I went into a cave.
...are home to 4 of the deepest caves anywhere on Earth. And the deepest of these is Veryovkina Cave at over 7,000 feet deep. For context, that's the same as stacking 23 Statue of Liberties on top of one another. The entrance to Veryovkina Cave is also located at an altitude of 7,500 feet, meaning that you have to climb up a literal mountain to get to it. Once you're up there,
so it's not even like easily fucking get toable. You've got to climb a freaking nah, suck this. I mean, in general, I would never go fucking cave diving or spelunking. The idea of that sounds fucking horrifying.
You're still surrounded by the rocky cliffs of the mountain ranges, and then in the middle of these cliffs is a fairly unremarkable looking hole in the ground. It's obvious that it's the entrance to a cave, but you'd never expect...
That's what you said. I'm sorry.
...to descend for over a mile into the earth. When the entrance was first discovered in 1968 by a group of cavers, they only descended down to a depth of 377 feet before returning to the surface. Then in 1983, the cave was discovered for a second time by a separate team of speleologists.
Oh shit! So it goes fucking deep. Oh my... What the fuck, bro? This is so weird.
From the Veryovkina Speleol Club from Moscow. Over the next 3 years, a series of expeditions pushed the depth to around 1,400 feet. But then for reasons that are unclear, there were no more expeditions until the year 2000. Work resumed again that year, but it would take all the way until 2015 to discover a new shaft that would unlock the true depth of Veryovkina Cave. By 2017, they had extended the maximum depth of the cave from 1,400 feet all the way to 7,200 feet and mapped over 17 kilometers of tunnels and passages. Then finally in March of 20...
Holy shit. Holy shit. Just fucking hell. I didn't know caves could go that fucking deep. Like, bro, it's gonna go to the fucking Earth's mantle at some point.
In 2018, the official deepest point of the cave was discovered at the bottom of a subterranean lake where the cave meets the water table, giving Veryovkina Cave a total depth of 7,257 feet, or 2,212 meters. 6 months later in September, the Veryovkina team returned once again to...
They'd be doing Minecraft in real life, for real. Climb 1.5 miles and descend over a mile. The intrusive forts are really winning today. Yes, they are. The intrusive forts are winning today. I'm sorry, chat on YouTube. You got to deal with
Continue
it.
exploring the cave, and this time they were joined by photographers Robbie Stone and Jeff Wade. It was this same team of world-class cavers from the Veryovkina Club that made all of the seminal descents of Veryovkina and of the other deep caves in the Gagra mountain range. Then he put his head down, took a deep breath, and started.
Whoa. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry. I pressed the wrong button.
They were joined by photographers Robbie Stone
Sorry about that,
and Jeff
guys.
Wade. It was this same team of world-class cavers from the Veryovkina Club that made all of the seminal descents of Veryovkina and of the other deep caves in the Gagra mountain range. Led by team leader Pavel Demidov, this expedition would be returning to the bottom of Veryovkina.
Now he looks like a caver. He looks like someone who explores all kinds of cave. He's probably getting all the pussy too. I'm sorry, I did. Intrusive fort.
To collect samples of some of the potentially undiscovered species and explore some of the promising horizontal passages at the bottom of the cave, all while
Never in my life would I ever have thought I'd hear the term promising horizontal caves. Again, that could be misconstrued as many things. Promising horizontal cave. Just gonna leave that one out
having
there.
Robbie and Jeff document the entire thing. Now, in an
So what is
ordinary
this
cave
brave
of
vault?
moderate
I don't
depth,
have
where you
one.
can descend and ascend in a single day, you'd still be bringing a decent amount of equipment, but
I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I don't know why today I woke up and I'm just like, my brain's gonna be in degenerate mode today, let's go.
because you need food and a bunch of climbing gear for every single person on the team.
Wait, you can use one on Tangier, I know that
In
much.
caves as large as Veryovkina Cave, the descent is more similar to an expedition that you'd expect to see when climbing a tall mountain. If you've ever watched anything related to Mount Everest, you may have heard of the multi-camp system. These camps are established higher and higher up the mountain to store food and gear and for the climbers to sleep and stay in between climbing. For multi-day expeditions on a mountain or in a deep enough cave, the amount of gear becomes way too much to transport at a single time. People have to climb up and down in advance to transport load after load of the necessary equipment to ensure.
This is also another thing I would never understand, why people want to climb Mount Everest. Isn't there like a queue for Mount Everest now or something? Like, is that popular now that people just do it as like, oh, let's go Mount Everest? I know people die all the time and there's like actual markers there of people who are dead. But like, I don't understand the appeal of going to Everest and doing all this. Like, okay, you walked up Everest, the biggest mountain on the earth, cool. Cool. I don't know what else you want from me, but I really don't.
A safe attempt. And Veryovkina Cave is no different. In fact, because of how deep it is, it has a total of 6 camps at various depths on the way to the bottom. From the entrance, climbers have to put on special clothing, harnesses, and helmets fixed with headlamps. They then descend down the first shaft into the darkness and move through a series of tight tunnels and passages to reach the first camp at 2,000 feet. This camp is a permanently installed camp where gear and equipment are stored year-round for emergencies.
So yeah, isn't it just like fucking Everest, but like in reverse? You're going down instead of up. I don't know about queues, but there's a dead body. Yeah, I know that part. It's like green boots or something. Like a guy has like some green pants or something, and they use him as a marker. I mean, unfortunately he died, but at least he's helping other people now in death, I guess. The only good way you could look at that. There are literal rows of dead bodies on that mountain. In India, if you climb the mountain, it's open a lot of doors, so people try to improve their living conditions. Oh, okay. There are multiple, just one? Not just one. Okay.
Then, over the course of the next 4 days, Robbie, Jeff, and the Veryovkina Club made their way to Camp 6, all the way down at 6,900 feet. On their way, the temperature was just a few degrees above freezing. They crawled through mud and water, impossibly tight squeezes, and descended down 100-foot shafts.
Fuck that. Again, I'm not claustrophobic, Chad, but this would make me claustrophobic. I would freak the fuck out if I had to fucking climb through that. Why is this? Why do people do this? Can like somebody explain? Maybe in YouTube comments too. Like, what is wrong with people that find this fun? Because Chad, you gotta remember, right? There's no reason to do this. They are doing this of their own free will because they find it enjoyable and fun. I think there's something fundamentally broken with these people.
Shafts over nothing but air. The thousands of feet of ropes that they used to make the descent were their only means of transportation in and out.
Oh, fuck that.
Then finally, they set foot onto the flat, sandy Camp 6 set up in a large horizontal tunnel. This would be their home for the remainder of the expedition. Over the next 3 days, the team set out from their camp to complete all of the tasks they had intended.
People are going into deep, tight holes. I'm just gonna leave that one there. I'm not even gonna respond to that comment.
One of these was to bring Robbie and Jeff to the lake that sits at the bottom. When they got there, they were stunned to see this beautiful turquoise water surrounded by jet black limestone.
It's the water. I don't see the water. I just see this green fucking fog. Where's the water?
The lake is 50 feet long, 25 feet wide, and is actually 28 feet deep. If not for the lights that they brought, it would sit there in complete darkness, entirely without color. On day 7, everything...
Oh wait, this is the water! Oh fuck, I'm fucking dumb. I'm so fucking dumb, bro. I was like, why are we looking at green fog on the screen? Show like the water or whatever. Motherfucker, it's literally the water like that. Fuck!
Everything was still going according to plan, and that day, 2 of the members of the team had to leave early to catch a flight home. When they got up to Camp 3, there was a ton of water pouring into the cave.
Fuck that. Fuck that. I don't care. I'm getting out immediately. If fucking water starts cascading down into the cave system, I am not staying. I'm not even going down there in the first place,
Massive
though.
storm up on the surface had caused a flood pulse to send thousands of liters of water rushing in. Inside these caves, you can't really communicate wirelessly because of the thick layers of rock, so instead, cavers have to run a physical line the entire length of the cave to communicate.
So like fiber optic?
The 2 team members immediately tapped into the cable to warn the others about the flood pulse headed their way. Down at Camp 6, they weren't all that worried when they initially got the call. Flood pulses are a common thing that cavers have to worry about. A single milliliter of rain is 1 liter per square meter, meaning that a single square kilometer receives 1,000 liters of water if just a single milliliter of rain falls. In heavy rain, that number is significantly higher.
Oh, wait. So the cave can actually like fully flood then? By that logic, maybe not all of the cave, obviously, but where they're at, I'm gonna assume that can flood. Why would you set a camp where it could flood? Okay, I'm thinking, oh my god. Of course they're ignoring the warning. Yeah, this is the beginning of a disaster, I can just fucking tell. Not fiber optic, isn't this in the 90s? I have no idea, Raven, I have no idea.
All of this water then bursts down into caves in equally huge volumes and can last for hours, depending on the volume of rain and how long it rains for. Again, they weren't all that worried when they first got the call. The Veryovkina group is world class, and their plan was to monitor the water level and then plan accordingly. Camp 6 had also been set up off of the main vertical shaft in what looked to be an area away from the flow of water. It was also at 6,900 feet, whereas the total depth was over 7,200 feet. For the water to reach them, it would have to fill up 300 feet of passages below them before it would reach them.
This is foreshadowing. This has to be fucking foreshadowing. I refuse to believe this is not foreshadowing.
About half an hour after they received the call, they heard the first sound of water approaching. It started off as a faint rumble and slowly grew like a train approaching. By the time it was just about to reach camp, it was so roaring loud that it was almost deafening. The entire cave shook like a constant earthquake was going on. Robbie had just started breakfast when the noise really started, and he and the
Motherfucker is just cooking breakfast. He's like, oh, this is fine, the cave's flooding, but I'm just gonna eat my breakfast. Motherfucker, you got bigger priorities, get the fuck out!
The others rushed out of their tents to see the approaching storm. As they turned their headlights towards the vertical shaft, a fire hose of water came pouring down. Robbie stood there with his...
I think you're dead. I think you might be fucked. Like, chat, that is the amount of like fucking force that is going to be exerting on you. There's no shot you could climb your way through that. I wasn't thinking like a little waterfall. I was thinking like, you know, like torrential rain, like, you know, just rain like droplets, not a full-on cascade waterfall like this. I think you're stuck or you're dead, one of the two.
His mouth open and almost dropped the food he was holding. Not nearly as experienced as the Prevo team, Robbie was really concerned by the volume and speed of the water rushing in. But
Yeah,
again,
no
the spot they
shit.
were in was completely dry, so he tried to stay calm like his Russian comrades. About 2 hours into the flooding,
People use the term comrade unironically. I fucking can't stand. I cannot stand that. So it's the big pet peeve. People use the term comrade unironically. Mo King has arrived in this chair. Oh, welcome in,
with
fish.
no signs of it
Welcome in.
slowing, one of the team members noticed a gurgling sound coming from a small hole near the tent. He looked into the hole and couldn't see any water, but he figured he should tell the team leader anyway. Pavel agreed that this was a bit concerning, so they decided to go and check out a nearby siphon to see how much the water table had risen. They returned about 5 minutes later and looked into the hole once again. This time, not only could they see water, but it was rising so fast it was sloshing up around against the walls and almost out of the hole. The team member looked back at Robbie, and Robbie saw that his face had gone completely white.
Are we about to like hear about someone's death here? Because this is horrifying. This is a different kind of fucking scary. Like this is unsettling and just not. God, this is horrid. Oh, 7? Yeah, for real, for real. So at least one person has to survive to know any of this. I fucking hope so. I hope they all survive to be fucking for real. I don't want anyone to die. I hope they all make it, but holy shit, this is terrifying. I'd be freaking the fuck out here.
Immediately, he knew that this meant that they needed to leave and leave right away.
It's only way before this. As soon as it started to rain, you needed to leave. Do you want spoilers? No, don't spoil anything. Don't spoil anything. It ruins it if you spoil it. No spoilers, chat, no spoilers.
With the sound of water still almost deafening, all hell broke loose in the camp. No one expected to be leaving that day, but now everyone was running around packing up essential gear. Robbie and Jeff pulled on their latex suits over their fleece base layer.
Ooh, latex. Ooh, kimchi.
After that, they slipped on their abrasion-resistant nylon shells and harnesses. Robbie then made the tough decision to leave all of his camera equipment and personal items.
Is it bad? Is it bad, chat? That I'm just imagining they have like skin tight, like shiny black, like like the catsuit, latex catsuit on underneath all this. Is it bad that that's what my brain immediately goes to?
Literally tens of thousands of dollars of equipment. He knew he
They're just capers that were, like freaking BDSM gear underneath their normal like jumpsuits because they're into that.
couldn't risk being slowed down, or it could cost him his life or the life of one of his teammates. He pulled all of the memory cards out of the cameras, placed them in a Ziploc bag, and then slipped them into his latex suit. At the very least, he could save all of the pictures he had taken. With that, he called out to the others that he and Jeff would start their ascent, and then they started off for the vertical shaft out of the quickly flooding Camp 6. This would be the last interaction that they would have with the Russians at Camp 6. The remaining members of the Prevo team would wait for the team leader Powell before starting their ascent.
Assuming when they said essential gear, so I'm assuming like ropes and like food and shit like that, so they can get out all the equipment they need to secure the ropes and stuff. Ziploc saved the day. I'd hope so.
As Robbie and Jeff made their way to the vertical ropes, they reached a narrow traverse, almost like a bridge that went along one wall.
Yeah, stuff to get you out.
Prior to the flooding, the chamber beside the bridge was 60 feet deep and 25 feet wide of nothing but air. Now it was almost completely flooded, almost coming up over the side of the bridge. At the end of this narrow traverse were the vertical ropes and the source of the water pouring into the cave. Robbie stepped into the waterfall pouring down from the shaft and clipped his ascenders to the rope. Then he put his head down, took a deep breath, and started making his way up the rope.
Wait, yeah. Chat, remember the fucking waterfall of fucking rain coming down? You've gotta like submerge yourself under that waterfall. You're gonna be struggling to fucking breathe for half of that descent, more than half, all of it. You're gonna, like, air is gonna be at a premium as you're going up this little fucking waterfall.
Rope as the water pummeled him from above. The water was coming down so hard it felt like it was crushing and suffocating him. It was literally as if his head was being squashed into his shoulders. Thankfully, he was able to tuck his chin, which allowed the water to run off of his helmet and create a small air pocket.
Did anyone else just, when he said tuck their chin, did anyone else try doing that? Just me? Okay, I guess I'm weird.
For him to breathe. Focusing on just the white rope directly in front of his face, he moved his ascenders up rhythmically as fast as he could. Finally, he reached an area with a small outcropping that he could step on and out of the waterfall to look up. He saw that the rope was coming out of a shoulder-sized hole in the rocks, but this was also the source of the water. Coming out of this little hole was a fire hose of water that seemed to take up the entire space. He thought to himself that there was no way he was going to be able to make it through that intense downpour. At the same time, he couldn't just stop. He was the lead climber. Everyone else was coming.
What the fuck do you do in that situation, though? Like, for real, what the fuck do you do?
Up behind him, and there was no telling what the water was like down below. He had to at least try to make it through. When he got to the hole, the force of the water was so strong that he was only able to push his ascenders a couple inches at a time. He finally made it through the squeeze and then realized that Jeff would have to do the same thing. He had no idea whether or not Jeff would be able to make it, so he just kept climbing as high as he could to get out of the way.
Make it or you die trying. But if you die trying, everyone else is dead too, because you're the lead. This is horrifying. Holy shit,
In his panic, he hadn't realized that this new section of the cave was mostly dry. The water flowed down a different route to the squeeze, so he was relatively safe where he was. But because he was so full of adrenaline, he was mindlessly climbing for his life as fast and as high as he could.
Oh my god.
He only finally realized what he was
chill.
doing when Jeff yelled out to him to slow down. Snapping out of it, he stopped and waited for Jeff to catch up before they continued. When Jeff reached him,
"You're safe, bro. You're safe. You're safe. Chill. Chill. You're safe. You're safe. You don't need to keep going."
his face was white, his eyes were wide, but he exclaimed that they were at least alive. The two of them silently wondered if the same could be said for the Veryovkina team down below. Robbie and Jeff eventually made it up to Camp 5 at 6,200 feet, where they waited, hoping they would see the Russians any minute. As the cave continued to shake,
That's never a good thing to wait for, to see the Russians coming. That's always a horrifying thought.
around them, they occasionally looked down over the edge into the abyss. Miraculously, down below they saw a single headlamp slowly making its way up the shaft. When he was finally close enough, they realized it was Andre. After he climbed up into camp, they asked him if he had seen the others, and he just shook his head silently.
So they died. Some of them fucking died. Oh, fuck.
They all sat there, thinking about the worst case scenario. Down below, by the time Pavel had returned from the siphon, the bridge that Robbie and Jeff had walked across was completely submerged. The rest of the team members had to actually swim to reach the vertical ropes. The last to swim out was Pavel, and as he was making his way out, the chamber had become a swirling vortex. All of the water draining deeper into the cave had turned into a giant whirlpool. When he went through it, it spun him around and he had to swim hard to make it to the line. By the time they were ascending, all of the deeper passages were completely submerged in water. Then, 15 minutes after Andre emerged, 5 more lights could be seen making their way up the shaft. One by one, all of the remaining members of the Veryovkina team made their way up to Camp 5. Robbie watched them ascend out of the flooded passage and couldn't believe how strong and capable they were. One team member was even carrying a stove.
These fuckers deserve a medal. For this alone, they deserve a fucking medal. Holy shit.
And 4 sleeping bags attached to his harness. He thought to himself how glad he was that it was him and Jeff that had gone first. If they had been the ones to climb up last, it's likely that they wouldn't have survived. And then when they climbed up into camp, they were quickly in the tent, having coffee and laughing about the entire ordeal.
No, keep going. Keep fucking going. Get out of the fucking cave. Get out of there. Don't just stop and have coffee and laugh about it. Get the fuck out of there, bro.
Robbie, on the other hand, was still thoroughly freaked out. For hours, he refused to take off his gear and kept looking down into the chasm to see if the water was still rising.
Oh, bro is the smartest one out of them all. That guy is the smartest fucking one out of every single one of them. I would not take my gear off. I'd be like begging, like, we need to keep going. We need to get out of this cave system. I'm not staying in this fucking cave anymore. Cup of Joe makes everything better. Yeah, exactly. I'd just leave too. I'd be like, no, I'm not staying here. I'm gonna keep going. You guys can fucking stay if you want. I'm getting out of the cave and going home. I'm not fucking staying here. After almost dying and drowning, no thank you. The only cave you'll catch me in is via Minecraft drill.
200 feet above them was a horizontal passage that they needed to pass to move higher into the cave. Normally, it's already half filled with water and you have to crawl through it. With all of the flooding, it was completely filled with water. As long as the flooding continued, they were trapped and just had to hope that the water didn't continue to rise higher. Pavel reassured Robbie that they would wait until morning to let the water clear, and then over the course of the next 16 hours at the camp,
Wait, actually, that's a fucking good question. So if the water's like catching at the bottom of this cave, where the fuck does it go? Surely it doesn't just like drain out, right? Because it's all rock. It's all rock and like stone and shit. Where does the fucking water go if it's all collected at the bottom? Slowly leaks into the soil? But is it soil or is it just stone? Mila, I got my kitty outside. Nah, fresh air is so sweet.
roaring of the water slowly died down. The flood pulse ultimately lasted a total of 20 hours and was the result of a week of rain, followed by a single severe storm.
Holy shit.
The week of rain had completely saturated the ground, so by the time the storm happened, the water poured relentlessly into Veryovkina cave. They later learned from a cab driver that the raindrops from the storm had been the size of nickels.
Soaks into the earth and drains out through small holes. Rocks can be porous. Drank my first eater. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for that one. Then again, it might also make new underground lakes if it's just stone. Perhaps there are several passages as they found an area it doesn't go into. Maybe.
This was actually a good learning experience for the team. They had previously been operating under the assumption that the cave only flooded in the wintertime. Following the expedition, plans were put in place to improve the surface monitoring to watch for rain.
Or, hear me out, you could close off the fucking cave because it's too dangerous. People could die. Maybe we don't go into this cave ever again. I guarantee you're not going to find anything of interest down there other than more fucking rocks, maybe some geodes. That's about it. That's about it.
Another camp was installed in the lower chambers to provide another escape point in the event of flooding. And despite this expedition being cut short, they had completed essentially everything they had set out to do. New passages had been explored and mapped, cave species had been sampled, and although the camera equipment was destroyed, all of the pictures were preserved. But this wouldn't be the last accident to ever occur in Veryovkina cave.
For fuck's sake.
2 years later, in November of 2020, some people exploring the area noticed a rope fixed to the cave's entrance.
So of course they thought, ooh, let's go down this rope where we don't have any gear or anything at all. So we go into this fucking cave because we're dumb.
This is typically a big no-no in the caving world because then anyone can access the cave and potentially get hurt or lost if they're unprepared. 8 months later, on August 4th, 2021, the same Veryov team returned to continue their work in Veryovkina cave. They descended into the cave as they had 3 years earlier, but then at 1,300 feet they found a pair of crampons and an ice axe. This didn't make sense.
Just left inside? So there are some scientist studies going on. I don't care. We just know we're not gonna find anything interesting in caves, I guarantee. Watch someone in the YouTube comments is smarter than me who actually knows shit or does this will be like, actually, you're wrong, Neffy, because we found all this amazing shit, and I'm like, fuck, I'm an idiot. But never, if we don't explore these caves, how will we... No, thank you for the thanks. So what the fuck? Thank you, Goober. How we unleash that horror's walked away. We don't want to do that go, oh no, yellow. Well, thank you for the 5 gifties, you stinky Goober. Thank you, but why? Why? I need to get that soundboard. I need to get a fucking soundboard. Oh, it's scary interesting. We have reached this guy. Have we reached this guy before? This is the first time I'm hearing about them, Taurus, so no. This is the first video I've seen of them. It's good though. I'm enjoying this. This is really... It's like really fucking morbid, but it's really fascinating at the same time. I'm gripped.
This equipment couldn't have just fallen into the cave from the entrance. There were no straight drops to where the equipment was found. This meant that someone had to have come into the cave and deep into the cave. They continued further in, all the way to the permanent camp at 2,000 feet. Then to the second camp.
Feeling generous because I got a VIP ticket to see my favorite band in concert. Enjoy the gift subs.
Thank you for these two, Goober. You don't have to be generous just because I mean, I appreciate it. Well, thank you for the 5 and the 100 videos, Goober. I hope you have a good time at the concert.
At 3,200 feet, and then all the way at 3,600 feet, halfway into the deepest cave on Earth, they found the badly decomposed body of a man. He was wearing...
That should be your cue to leave. That should be your fucking cue to get out of there and leave and never come back.
Camouflage overalls, trekking boots, a helmet, he had 2 cell phones, and he was still attached to the rope that he had used to descend into the cave. By the looks of the decomposition,
man.
he had been there for months. Although he had no ID on him when he was found, authorities were able to identify the man as 37-year-old Sergei Kozyev using a missing persons database. Then, using the information from the cell phones found on him, they were able to figure out what had happened that led to his death. Sergei lived in the city of Sochi, Russia, just east of the Russian border with Georgia, and about 2 hours from the entrance to Veryovkina cave. He was an avid outdoorsman and frequently went on solo expeditions to explore the wilderness. On November 1st, 2020, he said goodbye to his family, as he always did when he was going on one of these solo expeditions, and then set off for the Gagra Mountains. He also didn't tell them where he was going, despite the fact that he...
Fucking idiot. Fucking idiot, bro. If you ever do this kind of thing, I don't do it, but I know for a fact one of the biggest things you need to do, if you're going anywhere, like out in the wilderness, not even just caving, just going on hikes and shit, or like camping out and stuff, you always tell somebody where you're going. Always. Even if you think it's not going to be a big deal, you'll be back tomorrow, you'll be back in like a couple hours, just fucking tell somebody. Just somebody. In case the worst happens, at least somebody will know you're missing, and then go and call the police and say, hey, this person's missing. They told me they're going to go to this location, and they can search for you. Just, like, I don't fucking care. Even if it's like, oh, I'm just going to hike where, you know, out in the woods where I always go hiking, just fucking tell somebody. It takes 2 minutes. They're really not a big issue. Just fucking tell someone.
He was heading to a location that fewer people had set foot in than the International Space Station. Based on the documents and screenshots found on his phone, it seems that Sergei had spent almost a year planning this trip. He had printed out maps and materials from the expeditions made by the Veryovkina team, specifically.
It's not in English, therefore it's gibberish, so this obviously didn't help. It needs to be in English to be able to be read, I'm sorry.
To navigate down into the cave. First he made the ascent up into the mountains to the cave entrance using his crampons and ice axe. Then he fixed a rope to the opening and descended down into the darkness of Veryovkina cave. Using the information that he had gathered from the Veryovkina team, he...
That's a really good fucking idea, yeah, have like a GPS tracker on you too. I don't know if a Bluetooth, I don't know if the Apple fucking ones will count, but like have like a, you know, like a good GPS tracker just on you or in your pack or something.
Hauled all of his equipment in 3 transport bags through the tunnels and narrow passages. Then using a lattice descender, he traveled down the massive vertical shafts all alone. He successfully made it to the first camp and then left some of the equipment later discovered by the Veryovkina team, and then proceeded almost directly to the second camp. It was determined by the excrement found on site that he lived at the second camp for about a week before descending further into the cave. From the second camp, things got a bit more challenging. Beyond that camp, there are some larger and more technically challenging vertical shafts. In addition, the cave becomes significantly wetter from that point onward. As any caver knows, proper equipment is crucial. The standard fleece...
I mean, I don't think that needs to be a caver thing. I think just in general, in general, proper equipment is, you know, a necessity. Is wet chat. I was fucking avoiding that. My brain immediately fucking clocked it. I intentionally fucking didn't say anything. I intentionally didn't say a thing, Dracula. Shut up.
Underlayer with a waterproof outer layer is crucial to survive in the cold and wet subterranean environment. It's unclear exactly what happened in Sergei's last moment, but it seems as though he realized that he wouldn't be able to descend any further through the water with the equipment he had. At which point, he would have tried to make his way back up the cave, but because he had already descended into a technically challenging area, he was unable to get back out. Sergei had brought ascenders for his hands, but he didn't have any stirrups for his feet, meaning that he had no footholds for any of the long vertical shafts. He must have tried.
I'm just waiting for my chat. I'm waiting for them to fucking start laughing at the word shaft. Long vertical shaft. I'm just waiting for that now. I'm waiting.
And tried to make his way out of the cave, but between the exhaustion and the cold, he eventually laid down to sleep one last time and never woke up.
Upon That's fucking all. Jesus Christ, bro.
Finding his body, the Veryovkina team went back up to the surface and alerted authorities. Due to the difficulty of the cave and the depth that Sergei's body was found at, it would take a team of over 100 individuals to eventually retrieve it.
Holy shit.
It's also particularly risky to be in a confined space like
100 people to get his corpse out of there. Fucking hell. Also, Agent, thank you for the gift sub to Get Shafted, you freaking sussy goober. Too busy painting my minis to laugh at Shaft. No, you're fucking childish. You will laugh at the word Shaft, okay, chat? I will also laugh at the word Shaft, please. Don't make me feel alone here. Sorry, nephew, but I only know my own. Okay, alright.
a cave with a decomposing body, because the gases given off from the decomposition process can build up and become toxic at high enough levels.
Oh!
Despite how many people were involved in the rescue, they still ended up having to cut Sergei into pieces to successfully remove him from the cave. After his retrieval, his body was finally returned to his wife and kids in Sochi. For now, Veryovkina Cave is the deepest cave on Earth.
The only good part about that whole thing was that his family finally got closure. They know what happened to him, and they got his body back. That is the only silver lining I can find in that.
The Earth is a big place, and caves are not nearly as readily viewable as their mountain counterparts. Veryovkina Cave was only crowned the deepest in 2018.
Sure you were back, sure you were.
It remains to be seen whether it will hold its place as the deepest on Earth.
I just know what you said.
Hello everyone, my name is Sean and welcome to Scary Interesting. If you
Hi Sean. Why is bro giving us an intro at the end of the video?
I just wanted to thank you for watching. This is part 10 of the ongoing series Cave Exploring Gone Wrong.
10? I'm doing it again, chat. I'm starting like midway through an entire series. Fuck.
So you may want to check out the other videos in the series. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a like. That helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.
I would really like to watch more, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of intrigued. That was really morbid, but also really fucking cool. That was really, 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 really fucking cool. I hope you liked it, YouTube. Let me know. Do you want me to do more of these? Because I'd be happy to do more of these. Let me know in the comments.